Hi YouTubers, I'm against so doing a review right now. Guess what I'm doing right now? You won't believe it. I'm doing another gas station cigar review. Can't believe it, guys. Obvious disclaimer right off the bat. I am not smoking marijuana. I don't smoke marijuana. I've never smoked marijuana in my life. Have no desire to smoke marijuana. This is tobacco. This is a gas station cigar review, like a big-ass cigar review. Nice gas station cigar review. Really nice big-ass cigar review. Again, obvious disclaimer, now that marijuana is legalized, I really have to emphasize this. I am not smoking marijuana. I never smoked marijuana in my life. No desire to smoke marijuana. This is tobacco. This is the Principe Palma Ron. It is supposedly a rum-flavored cigar. Palma basically means regular cigar, I'm not sure how it will taste. I've not done a gas station cigar review in a long time. Basically because I find them terrible. In general, gas station cigar reviews or gas station cigars in general, are very bad. They taste kind of like crap, they kind of taste really shitty, really, really tarry tasting, give me a headache, gives me more of an ammonia rush than anything, I'm not a big fan of gas station cigar reviews, but I did get the cigar in the mail, from one of my dad's best friends, who lives in Arizona, I'll give it a fair verdict. I'll say nice things about it because my dad's friend, Richard, who lives in Arizona, gave me a cigar, and it's supposedly rum-flavored. Anyway, what I was going to try to say is, let's fire it up. Yeah, decent little cut in the cigar, most gas station cigars, I talk too fast, I know, tend to have a little hole where you poke like a toothpick through it, but in general, this cigar actually has a pre-cut. In general, those are better because you get a better airflow in general because you can suck in easier. There are some cigars that look more like handmade cigars that have this pre-cut. I reviewed one a long time back in 2012. There's basically like a machine-made, handmade / cigar. Let's fire it up. Okay. Okay. Whew. I can already tell you I'm not going to like this. Okay. 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 Initially, sweet, mild, not something I'm really into, so let's take a puff. No flavor. Very plain. Basically smoking air. Nothing, there's a texture in my mouth. Nothing overwhelming. I know this video's going to be a long video, so you don't have to watch long videos. Click off right now. And for the last time, I am not smoking marijuana, even though it's legal. I have no interest in trying marijuana. It's something I have no interest in trying. Even exhale through the nose, no flavor. Very, very mild. No flavor really, just kind of plain. Plain, kind of a crappy flavor. No flavor to it. Very, 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 very plain, mild, no flavor, really, really plain. No flavor. Very, very, very plain. No flavor. Very mild. Burn is actually pretty slow, surprisingly. I thought this would be a very quick burn, because these gas station cigars in general tend to burn very, very quick. It tends to be a paper wrapper. Basically, these are homogenized paper wrappers. Basically homogenized paper wrappers that are, basically crushed up, kind of shredded, that kind of stuff. They're not real tobacco leaves. It's basically just like blunt wrap. And for the last time, I'm not smoking marijuana, even though it's legal. I know I'm going to have to say that at least 5,000 times because I get plenty of comments from people saying, "Oh, what kind of marijuana are you smoking? What kind of marijuana are you smoking? Because it's legal." First off, the shops won't open until 2018 in both California and Massachusetts. So, I'm not smoking marijuana. This is tobacco. So, yeah, I'm aware there's a risk, whatever, like gum cancer, tongue cancer, whatever. It's like, the last time I don't care. If I end up with whatever, I end up with whatever. So, um, so what should I talk about before I'm smoking this nice big ass cigar? Not a bad flavor. I mean, it's very mild. It's not rum flavored. Definitely not. Definitely doesn't taste like anything like rum. So, very, very, very mild. So, um, very mild, plain tobacco, sweet, that kind of stuff. Let me feel how it's doing. Mushy. So, mushy. So, very, very, very plain, mild tobacco. Not a bad flavor. Kind of like cool looking. Kind of looks like you're smoking one of those old fashioned cigars. This is the kind of cigar that like King Siggy would smoke with those nice big ass cigars. So yeah, King Siggy is King Siggy is somebody who used to make videos a lot. He doesn't make as many videos. I don't watch his videos much anymore, but he used to smoke these cigars, and he smokes cigars that are very similar to these cigars. So machine-made cigars. You get these at drugstores, gas stations, convenience stores, mini marts, strip marts, that kind of stuff. Not strip clubs, strip marts. But yeah, Cigar for life. So I'm being very silly. So if you're wondering, I'm a little bit hyper. I came off my medications the other day, about a week ago, and I'm kind of animated. So it's kind of like being a little bit buzzed. So it's interesting. So, and for the last time, I'm not smoking marijuana. Okay, I know I'm going to get questions, especially because it's legal now in Massachusetts. So yeah. Yeah, very, very plain. So, no flavor, very plain. It's not bad. I mean, it's just plain. So, getting a little bit like that ammonia rush. So, a little bit of that ammonia rush, a little bit of that headache. So, nothing I'd really recommend. Kind of plain. So, really, really, really mild. So, no flavor. I do apologize against 2 burritos with hot sauce. Sriracha hot sauce, which is my favorite. It's kind of like chili hot sauce. Gave me a little bit of indigestion. So, if you're wondering why I'm rumbling my stomach, it's because it's kind of burning my gut. So, yep. Yeah, so, really, 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 really plain. And it's getting pretty mushy and hot right around here. So, getting very mushy and hot. So, nothing I would recommend, really. So, I mean, it's kind of cool looking, It's like one of those old, like, gangster movies. Probably one of those old gangster movies where, you see the people smoking the big ass cigars, like the mafia guys, like Scarface, The Godfather, that kind of stuff. Kind of cool looking, but I mean, it's not a bad cigar. I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I thought it was going to be a lot more tar. I know tar coming out of there. I mean, there's tar in the cigar, obviously. I mean, all smoke has tar, including pot smoke. Including pot smoke. Actually, pot smoke has a lot of tar. Actually, has a lot more tar than tobacco. So, pot smoke actually has a lot of tar. And it also has a lot more chemicals. So, not more chemicals, but it has more of the compounds. So, higher amounts of compounds. So, also is not very good for you. Kind of makes you kind of lazy. Again, I have nothing against marijuana. I'm not trying to degrade it. It's just kind of not something I've really been into because I knew somebody who really ruined their life with it a while back. So, um, kind of like very tarry. I mean, all smoke has tar. So I mean, any plant you burn is going to have tar. I mean, even tea leaves. If you watch my videos a long time back in January of 2010, February 2010, February 2010, you know, that I tried smoking tea leaves, not marijuana, tea leaves, and it really tasted kind of not great. And it also has a very interesting smell to it. Be very careful if you ever do. I mean, tea obviously has tar. I mean, anything you burn is going to have tar. Be very, very careful when you smoke tea leaves because it smells exactly like pot, according to my dad. So, it smells exactly like pot. So be very careful when you smoke it because even though it's legal, obviously it's obviously legal because it's tea leaves, not tobacco. So I mean it's tea leaves, not marijuana. So obviously there's nothing illegal smoking tobacco or tea leaves. Or I even think people smoke catnip. I mean I think Pipe from CHS made a video about that a long time back. He smoked catnip. He smoked catnip a while back. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he smoked catnip. So, yeah, I mean, Piper and CHS made it a while back. But just to forewarn you, I don't recommend doing anything like that. So it's like, I'm a big advocate of I'm just rambling at this point because I'm trying to pass time. So if you're wondering why I'm rambling about stuff, it's just because I give the cigar overall rating at the end. I'm just trying to pass time, so it's already 11 minutes long. It's kind of like, this is actually burned very slowly for a gas station cigar, pretty surprising. I'm a big advocate of, making sure people can do their own choices, It's kind of like, you have a choice as an over 18-year-old adult to eat a greasy cheeseburger, do whatever. It's like, I'm a big advocate of that. It's kind of like, but at a certain point, it's kind of like, I can see where people are against it. It's like, and obviously this is tobacco for the last time I'm smoking tobacco. This came out of a gas station cigar wrapper. I know we're going to get a million comments saying what kind of pot you're smoking because people probably think it's already legal. It's just not. So a lot of people are very misinformed, very biased. People are very misinformed, very biased. People thought back in 2008 when I was in high school, when marijuana was decriminalized, it was legal. So people started smoking pot on the sidewalks, literally. Car going by 1 sec. Yeah, people started smoking pot on the sidewalks, literally. I mean, you see people smoking pot on the sidewalks, and people started ticketing them. People weren't arrested. I mean, people weren't arrested for it. I mean, but people started getting like $200, $300, $400 tickets because they didn't want people smoking pot in public. It's like, it's decriminalized. I mean, decriminalized means you won't go to jail for it. It's like we're not a state like, Florida or Alabama where you go to jail for 50 years for having one joint on you. It's like, that's ridiculous. But it's like, Massachusetts has always been a very liberal state on pot. But it's like, has been a very liberal state on pot always. But it's kind of like, people got kind of a little bit upset when they started seeing people like smoking pot in public. It's like, people started smoking pot in public. It's like, kind of like, it's kind of like, people thought, oh, it's decriminalized, that means it's legal, which is not. It means you just can't go to jail for it. It's like, you can't go to jail. It used to be up to 6 months in the county jail and or up to a $500 fine and a 1 year suspension of your driver's license and a $500 reinstatement fee. Most people get probation in the first offense, but it's like, but now it's like, when it became decriminalized, we're like, oh, it's legal. It's legal. It's like, oh, I got the wrong impression. People are very biased, I find, about not only about marijuana and drugs, but also about healthcare and public school systems. People are very biased. Not to get into politics, but people are very, very biased. People are very biased. When it comes to smoking, or not smoking, not just drugs or alcohol or substance abuse or just in general, people are very biased when it comes to things like healthcare, public education, and people get very biased, I find. So, cover by 1 sec. So, people are very biased. I find, people are like, oh, it's like, the same healthcare you get in rural Alabama is the same healthcare you get here in Massachusetts. So it's like, completely different. So the level of treatment you can get at a hospital like Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston is incredible. So there are people who have been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and have lived for 3 to 5 years with very little pain. So there's people who have been diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer, cancer of the intestine, cancer of the gallbladder, cancer of whatever, these terrible cancers. They live for years and years and years with very little pain. Compared to places like Idaho, Alabama, where it's basically you go into a palliative care ward, and it's like you essentially die on chemo. It's like essentially that. Boston's one of the best places in the world you can get cancer treatment. It's also one of the best places in the world you can get cardiovascular treatment. So it's one of the best places you can get treatment. So I think people get very, very biased about healthcare treatment. Also, the education in towns around here, I'm not going to say where I live, but I live in Massachusetts. People get very biased. I think because I'm not going to say where I live, but I'm going to say, in my town, it's an extremely affluent town. So, very affluent town. So, all the towns in Massachusetts, for the most part, depending where you go, the inner cities are worse. But I mean, here in Massachusetts, definitely, for the most part, very, very new money around here. So, a lot of new money, very, very, very new money. A lot of really, 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 really rich people. So that's kind of the reason I want to work in retail for the rest of my life, is because very, very, very snobby people, and people have no respect for people who work minimum wage in this town. So people have no respect for people who work minimum wage in this town. It's like, I'm not going to say where I live, but I'm going to sort of say that in my town, people have no respect for people who work minimum wage. Essentially, people dump rotten apples. People dump cat poop or cat litter, and I found a plastic bag of cat litter of cat poop, and in one of the shopping carts, people dump all kinds of nasty things. Use tissues, candy wrappers, all those kinds of people. No respect for people in which this town is ridiculous, and it's so, so, so sad. It's like, because I took a minimum wage job a couple years ago because I just couldn't find a job in office. It's like I literally could not find a job in office. I could not find a job in office. It's like, and with all my disabilities, I can't work full time at this point in my life, so I can't work, full time in my life. For full time work, it's like, I explain why. This is getting really mushy. So, actually burning very slowly. I can understand why people might use these for something else, air quote. So, and it's like I can't work minimum wage. I can't work full time in my life right now because of my disabilities. And for the last time, I'm not a high school dropout. I'm not somebody who'd moved shoes off my parents, who essentially lives in my parents' basement, works a part-time in a grocery store. I have a lot of mental and physical and medical disabilities, so I have bipolar, I have a lot of medical disabilities, I have a lot of mental health issues. I had a very rough life as a kid, so I'm not going to get too into that, but I had a very, very rough life as a kid. I mean, if you saw me when I was a little kid, I'm a very different person, so even when I first started making this channel for the most part, even when I started making this channel when I was 18 years old, I was a very different person, so very different, so because after, crap, ash fell, shit. Because after high school, I went through basically clinical depression, so I went through, because I really enjoyed my senior year at my high school, not to say where I live, so I really enjoyed my senior year. I really, really enjoyed my senior year, and I went through a lot of hard times after high school, so the year after high school was a very rough year, so actually a couple of years after that was a very rough year, so I kind of went through clinical depression, so that's the last time I'm not a high school dropout. I know people are saying, you're feeding the trolls, dude, you're feeding the trolls. It's like, it had to be said, because, this video is almost 20 minutes long, wow, it's going to take a long time to upload. I think it had to be said, because people say, oh, this is somebody who lived a totally traditional lifestyle, had rich parents, and essentially said, you know what, I'm dropping out of high school one day, I'm 16 years old, I'm tired of high school, I'm going to live in my parents' basement. I think that's the impression people have gotten. So, I have a I've had a very, very rough life. So I've had a very rough life as a kid. So I'm not a traditional kid who dropped out of high school, has rich parents. So my family is really not that rich. So even though we live in an extremely nice town, not going to say where I live, we live in an extremely nice town, we are not rich by any means. So what was I going to say? So it's like we live in a very nice town, but we're not rich people. So, we moved into this house a long time ago. 26 years ago, and we got this house dirt cheap. I mean, we got this house probably at $150,000, and nowadays, this house probably would have been $450,000, and we would never be able to pay that. So we would never be able to pay that. In a million years, so we would never be able to pay that. I mean, the mortgage on this house when we bought it was probably a lot of money. So I'm not gonna get too much into finances, but I'm just gonna say what I was gonna say was it's like nowadays I know I'm just passing time because the cigar is not interesting at all. So yeah, it's like this house would have been tons and tons of money nowadays. So, and we would never be able to pay the mortgage on this house. I'm not going to get too into that, but that's kind of confidential. So, I mean, this house would have been a lot more money nowadays. We got this house very, very cheap. So, when we moved into this house like years and years ago. So, yeah, it's like a certain point, it's like I have a lot of personal problems. So, I'm not somebody who is, I don't want people getting that idea. It's like, it kind of bothers me. It's like, kind of like the sexual comments, the gym fetish comments, that kind of stuff, smoking fetish comments, kind of like the Muslim men. It's kind of like, it's kind of like, um, it kind of bothers me because I don't want people getting the impression, oh, this is somebody who had rich parents, who, dropped out of high school, who mooches off his parents. Hey, people saying you're feeding the trolls too bad, and it had to be said. I've had a very rough life as a kid, so I've had a very rough life. I did not have a traditional life, and I'm not a traditional person by at all. So, yeah, very, very, very rough life as a kid. Not gonna get too into that. You'd be very surprised at how different of a person I was, 10 years ago. So I was a very different person. So that's why I don't want people getting the impression, no tar come out. That's actually a really good thing. Still a pretty crappy cigar. Pretty plain, no flavor, just mild tobacco. Wow, this video is very long. So it's kind of like, at a certain point, I was a very different person when I came out of high school. I went through a lot of trouble after high school. I'm not somebody who's a crazy juvenile delinquent who's, getting in trouble with the law. And you feel like I've never gotten in trouble with the law in my life. Or better, I'm a total law-abiding citizen. I've never done anything wrong in my life. But you know what? I'm a very, very, very interesting person, very unique person. So I don't want people getting the impression. It kind of bothers me, like the sexual comments, the gym fetish comments, that kind of stuff. Because, for the last time I'm not gay, for the last time I'm not gay, it's not a gym fetish channel. I never want to be in perfect shape, so I never want to be in perfect weight, I'm happy being moderately overweight, and some people, I know some people who are really, really, really want to be, in perfect shape, have six-pack abs, be buffed out, it means absolutely nothing to me, so, right now, dating doesn't mean anything to me, so, a lot of that's because I have high-functioning autism, so, and I'm a very open person in general, so, it's like, at a certain point, that's why I kind of like, the sexual, provocative comments, gym fetish comments, that kind of stuff, kind of bothers me, because I'm not into that perverted crap. I'm not into gym fetish videos. It's kind of funny to joke about, but I'm not into watching guys, smell their sweaty socks, that kind of stuff, that and perverted crap, I'm going to use the word. So, it's kind of like, at a certain point, it's funny to joke about. Like, the point I'm trying to make is 25 minutes long. Is it's funny to joke about, like, gym fetish videos. It's kind of like funny to joke about, that kind of stuff. But it's really not funny when people like push their opinions on people and say like, oh, he looks muscly. It's like kind of like it's borderline sexual harassment. I've known people who have, kind of like, I don't know, whatever. You get the point. So, it's kind of like, I see why people kind of get a little bit bothered by that because I'm not into that kind of stuff. So, maybe some people matter seem to be in perfect shape, I'm happy being moderately overweight. So, and right now dating doesn't mean anything to me. I'm getting the HPV vaccine, so my insurance only comes to turn 26, so it's like, and I'm not somebody who's into freaking gym fetish videos or anything like that. It's funny to joke about because, that's a foot long, big ass cigar for life. It's like, it's funny to joke about, but I'm not interested in that freaking perverted crap, it's like, I'm not interested in that stuff. It's funny to joke about. I mean, almost 30 minutes long, wow. It's kind of like, at a certain point, it's funny to joke about, but it's kind of like, it's not really funny. And for the last time, that's why, or run off, it's kind of like, what I was going to say was, it's kind of like, it kind of bothers me when people get the wrong impression about me. It's because, I've had a very rough life. So, I've had a very rough life, both my medical, physical, and mental health issues, and also my emotional disabilities. So, I've had a very rough life. So, I don't want people getting the impression this is like, okay, I know I'm feeding the trolls, whatever. It's like, this is like a high school dropout who dropped out of high school, who has nothing going on in his life, who has rich, snobby parents, and dropped out of high school, And it's somebody who just, mooches off his parents, lives in his parents' basement, and essentially gave up on life one day. And I've known people like that throughout my life who have really given up on their life. So I knew something like that a while back, so who really gave up on their life. Yeah, it's like, kind of like, what I was going to say was, that's why it kind of bothers me, because I'm not, what I was going to say was, I'm not, interested in that kind of lifestyle. So, anyway, big ass cigar for life. Enough rambling. This is almost done. I mean, this is almost 30 minutes long. This is going to take like 2 hours to upload, I'm sure. So, not a bad cigar. So, not a bad cigar. I mean, it's not a super bad cigar. I mean, it's just very mild. Not much ammonia, so that's decent. I mean, for a gas station cigar, this is pretty decent. This video is almost 30 minutes long. I'm going to have to really cut this video off pretty soon. Rating of the cigar, I'll finish smoking probably by myself. Probably, I'd say, I'd say for this cigar, probably I'd say for gas station cigars, probably 8 out of 10. I mean, this is not bad. It's very slow burning, so very slow burning. I'm sure that's why people use it to roll something else. Hint. Not that I'm doing it. I am, for the last time, I am smoking tobacco. So, I don't smoke marijuana. I never smoked marijuana in my life. I have no desire to smoke marijuana. I know people are going to say I'm lying, I'm just, interested in smoking, tobacco. So, but where's this risk of mouth cancer, throat cancer, tongue cancer, cheek cancer, whatever, lung cancer? You know what? At some day in my life that catches up to me, I'll answer to it. Like I said, even if God forbid I did get, or not God forbid, but even if I did get at some point in my life, I just farted. The medical care in Massachusetts is extremely good. So, but I'm not going to worry about that. I mean, we're all going to eventually. My cat died the other day, so we're eventually all going to die someday. So. Anyway, comment, feel free to subscribe. This video is almost 30 minutes long. I'm not going to do it any longer. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for rating. Not a bad cigar. Pick it up. I mean, I'm not sure where they sell these. My dad's friend Richard, he lives in Arizona, so I don't think they sell these around here. Principe Palma, Ron, pretty crappy overall. You know, pretty crappy. I mean, not a very good cigar. Very plain. So, but for a gas station cigar, it's not half bad. So, very good cigar. Pretty damn good for a gas station cigar. Anyway, comment, like, subscribe, and keep some of this big ass cigar's life. Bye. 8 out of 10 for rating. Not a bad cigar. Nice long ramble.